So it's as if the universe is asking us to dive deep, to be quiet, to observe what is coming through, because something is coming through. This is another reason why I called it the Channeler's Moon. But there's an opportunity here to really sit and tap in with spirit. Hello, beautiful souls. It's Dr. Danny. Welcome back to the channel. Today's presentation is a big one, and it's very exciting because this is the last new moon of the year. There's some very intense transits coming. All the personal planets are about to pile up on the sun right at the galactic center. In fact, just a little bit past it. On this channel, we're using constellational astrology, which is a combination of modern Western interpretations using astronomy. It just seems simpler. So I offer you that today in that format and see how that resonates for you. I will be going through this moon by your rising sign. So I'm giving you a specific message by what constellation was on the Eastern horizon, the hour that you were born. And I'll show you how to find your ascendant. I have no big announcements today. Just check out the live streams or check out my website for reading or courses. We do have some exciting things coming up. So do stay tuned for a live stream. Like the video if you're enjoying the content and you've learned something or it helps you. Share this if someone needs it. Become a channel member if you are so inclined. And otherwise, we'll just get into it. I'm calling this moon the Channeler's Moon because of the Sagittarius energy. And when we're talking about Sagittarius this close to the galactic center, we are talking about a wisdom that comes from beyond the veil, that every single one of us has access to. Every single one of us can sit quietly, quiet our mind, and access that energy and that information. I've always thought of Sagittarius as a gateway to the Akashic record, a way to tap into the higher mind, to all the knowledge that there ever was. And because of the time of year that it is, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, we have an amazing opportunity as the light dies and as solstice draws closer to pull inward and to channel and to recognize what resonates with who we truly are on our highest path. So this moon's a big one, okay? Like I said, I'm taking you through your rising sign. If you don't know that, I'll show you how to get it as we move through this presentation. The link to the free chart calculator on my website is in the description. Just click on that. I don't even need your email. You can put your details in there and just look on the eastern sky. Then you want to click the timestamp below for the rising sign that is on that eastern sky. So if you've got Leo rising, then you click on the Leo timestamp below and it'll give you a specific reading and remedy and actions you can take for this new moon. This is the most important time of the lunar cycle, by the way, to start working with lunar energy. If you're waiting until the full moon, you're doing it wrong. If you're waiting till the moon is about to swell and things are hectic, then you're already manifesting what you started with at the previous new moons. So for today, you're going to understand what this moon will be about specifically to your rising sign. Then you can make intentions around that. And then you can work with us as we move through this lunar cycle and to the full moon, which is in early January. And then the alignments get amazing. So I will share my screen and we'll get into it. Friends, let's take a walk outside. This is theskylive.com planetarium view. This is where you can see comets and major bodies. The constellations aren't as pretty as stellium, but I thought I'd use it for this particular presentation because this is so stunning, this holy alignment of bodies that is about to happen on December 19th, which is our new moon. This is the Milky Way center right here. This is where 3i Atlas came from. This is a different comet. 3i Atlas is way over to the right now. But this is the spot where 3i Atlas was, or where we first noticed it. And you can see Sun, Moon, Venus, and Mars all like surrounding each other. This is a lot of energy in a very powerful spot in the sky. And just to orient you, this is Sagittarius right here. I'll even draw on him for you. Sagittarius. Scorpio is right here. Ophiuchus is right here. And Libra's right here. This is the scales. And then here's the feet of Virgo. So you can see this is like the just the point in the sky where the most power is. In fact, I believe this is where we come and go as souls, as energies that traverse the ethereal and spiritual and physical realms. And when we come down into here, into the ring of the archons, you know, the zodiac, these mythological energies, it crystallizes us, physical matter, but this gives us a map on how to read the energies, read our lives, not necessarily to escape, but at least to manage, at least to do it a little bit better and a little bit easier. Because if you know how the system works, then you can break it, right? So there you have it. That's that combination in the sky. And this is how we're going to read it energetically when we look at the chart. We're going to look at basic aspects to this, as well as what else is going on in the sky for that particular day. So let's get into the presentation. All right, the December new moon, the channeler's moon by rising sign. Just look at the time map really quickly. This is what I use for my Venus transits, for understanding the different parts of Venus cycle, where she is in the sky, what aspects she's making. But I also put moon phases and other interesting tidbits on here just to orient us. We're right here, December 19th. This day is special too, because this is the calculated closest approach of interstellar object 3i Atlas. And I have numerous presentations on how that directly impacts our astrology. And it's very, very interesting. There's a lot of numerology and code behind this too, which is why I know it's an interesting object. We'll talk a little bit about that before we get into the individual rising signs, because it's important to understand this thing's getting the closest to Earth it ever will. This is a once in a lifetime, once in a cosmos, once in a universe happening that we get to experience along with a new moon. So it's interesting. And then a couple days later, we have the solstice. Mars has already moved into Sagittarius. The sun moved into Sagittarius the day before. And then the solstice is 2 days later. And then Venus joins them all in Sagittarius on the 22nd. And the whole time this is happening, Venus is in a square to Neptune and Saturn. But so is Mars, and so is the sun. And now the moon will be also on this day. Neptune and Saturn are now direct during this moon. So the veil is dropped. We're working hard. We have to continue to achieve, continue to strive, but also honor the imagination, honor the spiritualness, the what do they call it? The spirit chills, the glimmers, right? Honor those feelings as well. They can work together, but there can be a bit of a challenge with that when you're trying to truly create, because you do have to put some structure on it. Venus is also square the lunar nodes right before this moon, but that should be waning by the time this energy gets here. And you'll notice this yellow line here as well. This is a big moment for Venus coming up, because as this line gets more and more golden, Venus is approaching her superior conjunction with the sun. And this only happens every 20 months. This is the beginning of a brand new Venus cycle. I always stress to you guys to start the programs, you know, start your energies with the beginning of the cycle, the new moon, right? That's the exhale, and that you're at the bottom of the exhale, and then you inhale, and then at the top is the full moon. That's every planetary cycle. Venus and Sun are about to get to the bottom of their exhale. And then they begin a 10-month inhale and then a 10-month exhale. So it's a 20-month cycle. During January, Mercury will also begin a new cycle. There's a lot of new cycles starting here. I don't believe that January 1st is the day to have any New Year's resolutions, because everything's ending right around there. The new beginnings begin in January, right after the January full moon. These little birds here are the golden phoenix angles of the sun and the moon. And this one should have been moved to Saturday, the 6th, because that's when we have had all those solar flares and the earthquakes and the volcanoes erupting. Very interesting that it corresponded with this Phoenix angle. So just keeping a note of that there. And then the next one comes on the 31st of December, also during this lunar cycle. All right, let's move on. I just want to thank all the channel members. You guys are getting this video first. I appreciate you so much. We are 45 or 46 strong, and it really does make a huge difference. It makes me believe that there is a group of people I am working for every day, and I work tirelessly to find new ways to understand this so that we can all walk in a soul-guided path. And so I appreciate each and every one of you for supporting the work that I do. Thank you. All right, here's the chart for December 19th of 2025. I have positioned it exactly when it goes perfected at 1 minute of 1 degree of Sagittarius at 6 minutes. This is the absolute perfection of that new moon. There's a bit of a dark window between the that sandwiches this new moon, kind of like, you know, the sun stands still at solstice. That is kind of one of those moments. And for this to be so close to solstice at the same time, right there at the galactic center, I mean, it's like reset after reset after reset. This is the moment of ascension between Ophiuchus and Sagittarius. It's ascension energy. It's where Three Eye Atlas was first discovered, entering our solar system. I mean, there's a lot of coincidences and energies here. This energy is also associated with Christ energy, you know, not the book, but the man. It's associated with the divine Sophia. There's no gender here in this space. It's just powerful creator incarnate in the body. And that's what we are, and that's what we're doing. And to have Venus right there too. Oh my goodness, this is like this is such powerful, powerful energy. When we look at sun and moon aspects, I just zoomed it in a little bit here for you so you could really take in just how luscious this is. This is the divine feminine, the sacred masculine, the expressive self, and the inner reflective self. Basically, all right here at the galactic center, right where Three Eye Atlas came from. A new start, a fresh start. This could be your new year, but wait till you see January's new moon. It's even better. It happens right over here near Pluto. But this one's still pretty profound. And I'm calling it the channeler's moon because this is where that veil is thin. This is where we can, if we sit and we listen, we get the answers. We have access to the Akashic record here. And so whatever new moon rituals you have, drink your moon water, write your sigils, you know, create an intention and then burn it in the fire because it's Sagittarius. You know, always be careful. But those kind of rituals are going to be very important for us around this new moon. It's really, really quite spectacular. So that's all happening right there. Those 4 bodies, Venus, Mars, Sun, and Moon. And when we look at when we look at what's being played with, you know, or what the conflicts might be, we have a square to Neptune and Saturn, and they're both direct now. It's a confrontation, right? Squares are harsh light. If you were to put a person in the middle here and you were to draw an angle between this and this, that angle right there would be 90 degrees. And the little tick marks are 90 degrees between Sun, Moon, and Saturn and Neptune. We give it a little bit of an orb, a little bit of a wiggle room, right? So there's, you know, 3 or 4 degrees on either side and 3 or 4 degrees on either side. So you feel this for a couple of days. And when it comes, it's like a wave. It comes up and then it peaks when it perfects, just like this new moon's perfecting right here. And then it wanes away as it gets really close to one another. And you're going to watch Saturn get really close to Neptune in the coming months. But this square, so this has always been about spiritual devotion. This is the mystic and the creator coming together. Saturn created this realm. He crystallizes everything that you manifest, whether you know you're doing it or not. He crystallizes it for you. Like, in other words, Saturn creates your prison for you until you realize he's doing it, and then he manifests for you your destiny. And that's being combined with the spiritual, mystical, fantastical, mythical energy of Neptune. in Pisces. They're both in Pisces, which is what Neptune rules and Jupiter rules traditionally. So it's this compounded energy of the known versus the unknown in the deep abyss. So it's as if the universe is asking us to dive deep, to be quiet, to observe what is coming through, because something is coming through. When we look at Mercury, I'll talk about him in a little bit. This is another reason why I called it the channeler's moon. But there's an opportunity here to really sit and tap in with spirit. So there's a tension here, right? There's a tension between the inner and the outer self and how to work with the mystical and the practical. And that tension usually causes growth. It causes expansion. The other thing that sun and moon are experiencing, besides their being flanked by the feminine and masculine, and then having a challenge from the known and the unknown, is the trine to Chiron. Chiron is retrograde at 33 degrees. And you guys know that's a big number in what we do. And we always watch and we look when we see 33 degrees. Chiron's the wounded healer teacher, the centaur archer, the immortal with the mortal wound that couldn't die. So he was forced to live in agony forever. So Chiron resists integration because there's the search for the healing is always there. And there comes a point with Chiron, usually around its first return in your life, where you're like, you know what? I'm done with the healing. I'm now I'm going to accept. Now I'm going to forgive. Now I'm going to move on and show my greatness. And that's what Chiron can do for you. So contemplate your greatness here. There's a great opportunity for something truly divine to come through with this magnificent trine to Chiron and the challenge that Saturn and Neptune are asking you for. 3i Atlas is at our South Node. And this is, South Node usually drains the energy, and the North Node usually brings in new energy. This can be clinging to the past. This is looking towards the future. This energy is more chill, like it doesn't care, it doesn't strive, it doesn't work very hard. This energy wants to be the best. It wants to achieve, it wants to strive. It gets up every day to do the thing that it's supposed to do. 3i Atlas is on this side. And so it's in Leo, which is the divine child, the pure innocence of spirit, the pure light of the sun. And there's either a drain here, or there's a place to really just relax and enjoy. And maybe this energy of this comet will allow you to kind of sit in peace, commune with higher source, and receive these codes from 3i Atlas. You can switch this polarity too sometimes if you need to. There's advanced meditations you can do to do that for sure. Let's look at the lunar nodes. And this is where Mercury, the channeler, comes in. Mercury's in Scorpio, and this is deep investigative energy. This is revealing of information as well. And the information that's going to come through the square with Saturn and Neptune to Sun, Moon, and Venus and Mars, it's going to conflict with our destiny. What are we what are we clinging to? Where are we going? These are all very good questions to ask ourselves when Mercury is square the nodes. Thankfully, he's not here that long, and this is the final cross. He's finally finished his retrograde motion, and the spot where he originally went retrograde, he's finally crossed over that. So this information should be new. It should be fresh, but it was unknown before. And sometimes unknown energy, it needs to find a place in our psyche and in our subconscious, especially when it comes from the Akashic record. We have to find out where it sits, where it lands, and what it means for us. And that's what Mercury is there to do for us during this moon. So receive, accept, integrate, channel, do it. This is a channeler's moon, and the energies are so perfect for it. All right, let's see what's next. Jupiter is making another interesting aspect. So remember, Chiron is trying to Sun and Moon, but Jupiter and Chiron are in a square. So Jupiter is retrograde, and Jupiter is expanding our knowledge, expanding our minds, expanding our possibilities. And you might feel a little bit, if you're a very mental person, you might find yourself like expanding into way too many spaces. Sometimes Jupiter can overgive to us. But what's nice about Jupiter right now is that it is in a trine to Saturn and Neptune. This is always very good information and very good energy because you have the mystical flair to it. So if you want to do something practical and expansive, you can do it within the realm of mysticism, and you're wholly supported by this energy. Saturn's moving forward, Neptune's moving forward, Pluto's moving forward. You can make the change now. The problem comes from, over identifying with the wound. If you're over identifying as a victim or over identifying as someone who needs to be healed or someone that's broken, then Jupiter will bring you way too much. Jupiter will bring you exactly that. And if you don't want that, then you have to come into your greatness. You see, you have to silence that mind. It's hard with Jupiter, but if you can, silence the mind, let source come through, let the healing come through, and then Jupiter can provide you a very practical means to manifest and expand. Uranus and Black Moon Lilith create the final energy of this chart that is very, very interesting. So we have Uranus, the rule breaker, the psychopomp of the zodiac, the astrologer of the zodiac. His antennae are focused outward towards the cosmos. Uranus is in the Pleiades, where there's a star named Atlas, which is super interesting. And so we're getting these cosmic codes, and I think the codes of Three Eye Atlas are being channeled through Uranus, because that's Uranus's job, to bring the stuff from interstellar outer cosmic space and bring those codes into us. And it directly stares right down into the deep abyss of everything that we hide about ourselves, everything that we want to banish about ourselves. This is Black Moon Lilith. But at the same time, Lilith is in a great space to come out. Libra's very fair. It's very honest. So it's almost as if we're being invited to come out and be looked at by this new energy. This is that opposition. So, I mean, what you find in that darkness may feel like it should be banished, but give it a chance. Give it a chance to be seen by something that doesn't care. Uranus doesn't care what you are. As long as you're you, as long as you're authentic, as long as you're honest, he's going to bring you on your greatest path. He's the individual spark of divinity. We have a few more days before, or maybe a month or so before Black Moon Lilith enters Scorpio, and it'll get a little intense. So now is probably a good time to do that, to set intentions around that. Saturn and Neptune are in nice aspects to this as well. This is a very long standing aspect between Uranus and Saturn and Neptune, this sextile. Okay, this is surrendering to transformation. This is actually working towards transformation. And then the trine to Black Moon Lilith means what you know is actually ancient and true and authentic. So this will probably come through, and it will feel tense with the personal planets. You'll be like, I don't understand what this means yet. And that's okay. You don't have to. That's Mercury's job to figure that out, this lunation. Pluto's also making nice aspects to this same opposition, but in reverse. So Pluto is sextile to not only Black Moon Lilith, but also Saturn and Neptune. And then there's a trine between Uranus and Pluto. So this is powerful transformation. This is powerful change. This is freedom, obsessive freedom. And it's all facilitated by the imagination and what you can create. And Pluto is offering his hand to that sister of the darkness, come on out and be seen, and it's okay. So this is all very supportive for getting that vanished energy up to the surface and out and recognized. All right, and then of course we have Three Eye Atlas and its closest approach to the Earth, which is coming the same day as this lunation. Here is the standard famous solar system model that you can get on theskylive.com, and you can track it and change the dates. And we've been watching 3i Atlas. It's been very interesting. It came inside the orbit of Mars. It has a lot of phi geometry and numerology associated with it. And now it's on its way out of the inner solar system to rendezvous with Jupiter. But before it does, we get to say goodbye to it one last time. So I'd like to share with you just the timeline. I created a short earlier today that you can just watch for a couple minutes. All right, friends, welcome back. We are going to get into the rising signs right now. So before we do that, I just want to remind you how we can connect. If you want to do free support to this channel, you can like, hype, subscribe, share. You can also join us on Facebook in the Fellowship of 13 Signs. If you want to step it up, you can join the channel and join us for our monthly Zoom call right around the new moon. You also get 13% off any of my natal readings. You can get a reading, you can take a course, you can buy the book. All those links are below, and I appreciate each and every one of you just for hanging out with me today. How to find your rising sign. Your birth time is absolutely essential. You can go to stellarium-web.org and change the time and date to your birthday and time, and then look in the eastern sky. Whatever constellation you see rising in the east, that is your rising sign. Okay. You can also go to drdanny.com free chart. The link is below. Put in your details. Look on the left side of the chart that pops up. And when you see ASC, there's going to be a dividing line between the number 12 and 1, and that is your ascendant. Whatever constellation is on that outer ring is your rising sign. Now, the rising sign constellation in true sky astrology may be different than your tropical placement. And if you know your rising sign, then click on the timestamp below. I'm going to start with Scorpio and Ophiuchus rising. Hello, Scorpio and Ophiuchus rising. Today, your rising sign gives you the chart ruler of Mars. I combine this with the traditional rulership. It just works really well. You can go ahead and claim Pluto if you like. You can go ahead and claim Chiron if you like, but we're going to use Mars in this case. And you have Mercury right on your ascendant. If y'all's lives weren't mystical and dramatic enough, now you've got the planet of channeling and communicating right on your ascendant in a T-square to the lunar nodes. So the being in your ascendant right here, especially all of this personal planet stuff in your first house, this reset is happening inside of you first, in your body, in your identity, in your energy field. and how you experience the phenomenon of being alive. You're not observing the change this month. You are literally the change. All of this activation in the first house is a full heart and identity reboot. How you relate to desire, attraction, beauty, pleasure, self-worth. It's all being rewritten at the same time that your sense of self is updating. So you're going to feel a little shaky. You might notice changes in how people respond to you without trying to change anything at all. And that's because the signal's moving through your physical presence first. With Mercury here, activating that first and 12th house cusp, your ascendant, you're a receiver of information. This month, you're going to pick up on everything that is unspoken. You're going to feel truth before it's confirmed. Dreams, intrusive thoughts, old memories, sudden realizations will carry meaning. Don't dismiss what arrives quietly. This is a transmission for you. And using Mars as your chart ruler, and Mars being in the first house at the moment, you feel like you have to move. You really cannot sit on what you know, GNO know. You're going to feel compelled to declare something, leave something, begin something, or aim yourself in a new direction without even waiting for proof. And you should trust that. That's the alignment overtaking you, and that's allowing source to move you. If the ascendant is right here at the galactic center, then you can also claim Jupiter as your chart ruler, because this space can be Jupiterian. It's still going to arrive in your identity, even if you identify with Jupiter. But the meaning will be processed through the 8th house themes, because that's where Jupiter is right now. Okay. And Jupiter is square to Chiron, which is trine to Sun and Moon. So shared money, intimacy, energetic bonds, trauma bonds, power dynamics could potentially be part of how the truth becomes avoidable. And what you're tethered to is changing. The lunar nodes are activating that 4th and 10th house for you. So old public roles are releasing here. Old definitions of success, visibility, and responsibility are expiring. The future is pulling you inward towards emotional safety, towards home, towards your private self. This is the month where you realize that the life you've been maintaining for the world is no longer the life that supports your nervous system. So what you need to do, Scorpio and Ophiuchus Rising or Galactic Center Rising, don't try to hold on to anything this month. Let whatever's coming, let it move through you. And just notice where your body reacts before your mind decides. Speak the truth that changes your direction, even if it disrupts your comfort, and pull energy out of appearances and place it into what actually feels like home. You aren't meant to necessarily hide this cycle, but you are meant to demonstrate what it looks like to receive a signal and to live it immediately. Hello, Sagittarius Rising. Your chart is ruled by Jupiter, and the new moon will be activating your 12th house through Sagittarius and Ophiuchus. This means that the reset will not begin in the outer world for you, not by a long shot. This is unconscious. This is dreams. This is in solitude, memory, spiritual contact, and in the parts of you that don't need to be seen to be real. This is the hidden initiation this month for you. When the sun and the moon in your 12th house and Venus and Ophiuchus in the 12th house, this is a month of private heart work. You got to dig deep. Old desires need to dissolve. Old attachments need to lose their grip. You might feel yourself quietly detaching from people, goals, or identities that once defined you without needing to announce it. So in other words, you just do it. It just changes. There's a withdraw energy that's in preparation for a rebirth on the next lunation. Boy, you guys are going to have a big one next month. Mercury is in Scorpio, also in the 12th house, and this is an even deeper receiver of the messages, of the channels. It's going to arrive through your dreams, through bodily sensations, synchronicities, and subtle emotional shifts. You might know things without knowing how you know them at this point. You don't want to rush to explain this to anyone. This is a month for listening more than speaking. Here's the paradox of your chart this month. Even though everything's happening behind the veil, Mars is literally right on your ascendant. And this means that your body wants to move, it wants to act, it wants to initiate, it wants to push, and you're going to feel restless without knowing exactly why. You might feel driven before you consciously understand what you're being driven toward. That's because the message is still forming in the unseen, but the engine is on. And your chart ruler is retrograde in Gemini in the 7th house. So this is the critical piece for you over here. The meaning of what you are receiving privately will be worked out through your relationships, through conversations, through arguments, through reflection, through mirroring. You will not fully understand what this month is doing to you until you see yourself through the eyes of others, partners, clients, allies, or even enemies. Pay attention to what others say to you, especially when they trigger you. This is where the transition is happening. The lunar nodes are activating your 9th house and your 3rd house. The South Node in Leo says that old belief systems, old spiritual identities, old roles as the teacher, the preacher, the leader, or truth holder are releasing. You've already carried that torch. You don't need to carry it anymore. You stood in certainty before, and this month asks you to put that down. And this is where the future grows, towards the North Node, through language, through conversations, through new ways of thinking, through the people in your inner circle. Not preaching, not declaring, but listening, being curious, being empathetic. So this month, Sagittarius Rising, you are going to outgrow a philosophy. You're going to quietly release a spiritual identity. You will stop trying to be the one with the answers. And you're going to begin to learn a new language of meaning. So protect your quiet time and don't overshare anything that's forming or anything that's coming to you. Track your dreams, journal your realizations, let the message come slowly, and then move your body to discharge the Mars energy without forcing any decisions. You guys need to sprint and then rest. Sprint and then rest. By the time we reach the full moon, something that is now completely invisible will be ready to step into the light in a totally new form. This is preparation. Sagittarius Rising. Hello, Capricorn Rising. So your chart ruler is Saturn conjunct Neptune in your 2nd house. You're having a heck of a time anyway. The new moon here is activating your 11th house through Sagittarius and Ophiuchus. This means that the signal enters through your future, through your vision, through the people you hang out with, also through your goals and anyone else that's part of that. This isn't really a private reset for you. This is social and directional recalibration. The sun and the moon in Sagittarius in your 11th and Venus in Ophiuchus also in the 11th means that your relationship to friendships, collaboration, audience, and collective purpose is going through a transformation. You will feel yourself outgrow certain groups of people, certain groups of friends. You're going to feel called towards new alliances that feel more aligned with meaning rather than obligation. Love itself becomes more future-oriented. Who you walk with now matters more than who you have known. And then you have Mercury in Scorpio in your 11th, square to the lunar nodes. So this is a month of telling truth inside those networks. It's so important because you have to be honest with your former self and truthful to what you are driven to do. So conversations with friends, collaborators, clients, your audience will carry more psychological weight than usual. Whatever comes through for you for this new moon, you're going to have to bounce it off of those people. It changes how you see your relationships with others. You might finally speak a truth that reorganizes a dynamic that you have silently carried by yourself for a very long time. So here's the core of the transmission mechanics. Your chart ruler is conjunct Neptune in Pisces in your 2nd house, and the entire cluster is squared by Mars in Sagittarius in the 11th house, along with the sun and the moon. This is the pressure point of the month for you. Second house Pisces with Saturn and Neptune is literally restructuring how you experience self-worth, money, survival, and energetic exchange. So you might have old confusion around value, and now it's being clarified. Old sacrifices that drained you financially or even energetically are no longer sustainable. You have to let them go. Square from the 11th house says that the future you're trying to build is forcing you to confront what's actually viable. This is where fantasy meets practicality. So if a dream has no structure, it will crack this month. If a goal hasn't been resourced properly, attention will expose it. If you've been undercharging, overgiving, or blurring boundaries around worth and money, it becomes impossible to ignore. And with Mars in Sagittarius in your 11th house, it's not waiting politely. It's pushing hard on your future. It's demanding momentum. It's creating pressure to act, to launch, to declare, or to take a leap. And then Saturn and Neptune in your second asks one essential question. Can you afford to become who your future is calling you to be? So you have the nodes in the second and the 8th house axis as well. So old karmic patterns around dependency, power dynamics, shared money, trauma bonding, secrecy, and emotional entanglement are releasing here. You're going to recognize where your identity became fused with crisis, intensity, or even being needed by others. And that version of power is actually expiring. This North Node in the second house, this is where Saturn and Neptune are. This pulls you towards sovereign value, independent income, personal resources, shared mastery, energetic autonomy. It's not about collapse anymore for you. It's about building a stable frequency of worth that does not depend on rescue, control, or emotional leverage. And then we've got Pluto on your ascendant, right? So it's not like you're just changing goals and money patterns and social alliances. That's all fine and good. But this is literally an identity level metamorphosis for you. So your presence carries even more gravity, more intensity, more truth. You don't actually get to pretend that you're unaffected by what's going on with you. People are going to feel the shift, even if you don't announce it. So you need to release survival-based power. You need to confront fantasy around money and value. You need to choose a future that demands structural integrity and step into a heavier and truer version of yourself. So audit your resources. What do you actually have? Time, money, energy. What can you do? Right? Let the dependencies that aren't real dissolve. And be deliberate with who you build with going forward. You can't underestimate your presence anymore. You are literally a catalytic powerhouse. So reclaim your authorship over your future and your worth at the same time, Capricorn Rising. Aquarius Rising. Hello, you beautiful souls. Uranus is your chart ruler, and the new moon is activating your 10th house. So you have Ophiuchus and Scorpio in your 10th house up there, and the signal that you're channeling this month enters through your public life, your career direction, your visibility, your leadership role, your long-range calling. This is a month where your outer life becomes the stage for the transmission. You have Sun and Moon in Sag in the 10th and Venus and Ophiuchus also in your 10th. So your relationship to purpose is being rewritten. What you are known for, what you work toward, and what you stand for publicly, all of that is updating at once. Venus here means that love, devotion, money, creativity, and relationships are tied directly into this career and visibility reset. You could fall in love with a new calling or fall out of alignment with one that no longer feeds your heart. Mercury and Scorpio in your 10th house makes this a month of strategic truth in your professional life. Conversations with bosses, clients, audiences, institutions, or collaborators will be intense, revealing, and decisive. Secrets will surface. Power dynamics become visible. You're going to speak with a truth that changes your public position permanently, or you may receive information that alters the entire trajectory of your work. Ooh, the North Node is on your ascendant and the south node's on your descendant. This means that this month is a karmic turning point away from relationship-based identity and towards sovereign self-authorship. You are no longer meant to define yourself through partners, approval, audience feedback, or being chosen. You're meant to choose yourself. So old Leo South Node patterns in the 7th house look like needing recognition from others, performing inside of relationships, overgiving to be seen, attaching identity to who stands beside you. The Aquarius in the North Node, on the other hand, is radical self-definition, becoming yourself without needing anyone's agreement, leading without requiring applause, and standing alone in your frequency if necessary. And then we look at Uranus, your chart ruler, conjunct the Pleiades in your 3rd house. That means the message you're meant to carry this month is transmitted through language, speech, writing, teaching, social media, connections, learning, and rewiring that mind. This revolution will start in your own mind with retrograde Uranus. You may suddenly think differently, speak differently, realize you've outgrown an old way of explaining yourself to the world. This is the inner electrical reboot that supports the outer career reset. Then we add Mars and Sagittarius in your 10th, and this is the ignition, action, launch energy, visibility through movement. You're going to feel pressure to act quickly in your career, to step forward, to take a risk, to be seen. Mars will not tolerate any delays here. It wants momentum. So this can feel exhilarating or terrifying, really, depending on how ready you are to be fully visible in your own frequency without relying on partnership validation. So you're no longer meant to orbit someone else's sun. You're becoming your own axis of direction. Your voice is restructuring. Your public role is activating. Your relationships must now meet you as an equal rather than a reflection. So say yes to visibility, even when it feels uncomfortable. Speak the truth that changes that professional identity. Let relationships that depend on performance or approval fall away, and experiment with new ways of thinking, teaching, posting, writing, or speaking. You're being pulled towards destiny alignment within your authentic signal, Aquarius Rising. Hello, beautiful Pisces Rising souls. The moon and the sun are in your 9th house. Your chart is ruled by Neptune or Jupiter. We'll use Neptune in this case. Actually, we'll use Jupiter in this case. So activating your 9th house through Sagittarius and Ophiuchus, the signal for you is coming through meaning, through belief, vision, teaching, travel, philosophy, spirituality, and your understanding of why your life is unfolding the way it is. This is a month of meaning for you. Your worldview is being rewritten. The sun and moon in Sagittarius in your 9th, and Venus also in your 9th, but in Ophiuchus, means this is a heart level reset around what you believe in. Old philosophies will lose their grip. Old spiritual identities feel too small. Old teachers, systems, doctrines may suddenly feel hollow. Venus here means your devotion is changing. What you love, what you trust, what you commit to as truth is shifting from the inside out. Mercury in your 9th is squaring the lunar nodes right here, adding a sharp edge to this process. So you might research obsessively. You might have intense conversations about truth. You might feel compelled to name what you no longer believe. Secrets about institutions. You might be a whistleblower around religion, around teachers, around ideologies. This is piercing insight around the stories that once gave you meaning. So now you have the Saturn and Neptune on or flanking your ascendant, conjunct in your 12th house, and Chiron retrograde in your 1st house. This means that your body and your identity are acting as the thinning veil between the worlds. You might not even know if you're here sometimes. You might not be feeling very well at times. Saturn and Neptune will dissolve illusion, but also boundaries. Old coping mechanisms, spiritual bypassing, unconscious habits, they're all melting away right now. You're feeling way more sensitive than usual, more porous, more holy, more affected by atmosphere, emotion, and subtle energy. Chiron in Pisces in your first means that the wound of identity itself is active. Who are you? How do you exist? How do you feel yourself to be separate yet connected? And the wound is open for healing. Very exposed, very vulnerable, very raw. This is how the medicine comes through, though. This is the place that once hurt the most. Jupiter's retrograde in Gemini in the 4th house, and it's trine to Neptune and Saturn. So this is essential to how that message is translated for you. You're not doing this through public roles or outer achievement. You're doing it through home, through memory, through family patterns, nervous system safety, and the stories you learned as a child. So conversations, inner dialogue, old memories, they're all resurfacing, and this is where that meaning becomes real for you. We also have to look at Mars in your 9th house, sitting with that new moon. There's urgency to this spiritual reset. You're feeling fired up about the truth, impatient with misinformation, and driven to declare what you believe, even if it disrupts relationships or stability. So Mars is giving you that courage to go for it, to burn the old philosophical scaffolding down to the ground. South Node in your 6th house is saying that old karmic patterns of proving your worth through service or overwork or fixing others or being needed, all of that's being let go now. You've carried this for lifetimes in order to survive, and that contract's expiring, and it's expiring right now. The future's pulling you into mysticism, solitude, channeling, surrender, non-ordinary consciousness, spiritual service, like soul level transmissions. You are not meant to earn your value through labor. You're meant to embody frequency. So this month, you outgrow a belief system. You feel your spiritual identity dissolve and reform. You become acutely aware of how sensitive your body really is, and you're pulled inward rather than outward, remembering something ancient about who you are beneath the roles that you perform. So this month, rest more than usual. You are integrating so much. Journal your dreams and your memories. The message comes in fragments. Just let them die. You don't have to replace everything right away. Just see what the space feels like without them. Let your home become your sanctuary while your meaning and these new codes update for you. This is a month of soul recalibration at the level of belief, body, and spiritual identity. You're changing the ground you're standing on, Pisces Rising. Hello, beautiful Aries Rising. Oh, you guys are going to need a hug this month. This is, Mars is your chart ruler, and Mars is in your 8th house right now. And Mars is being literally reborn. So, and then the sun and the moon are there too. So the whole death and rebirth territory through intimate layers, through the things you share, through power dynamics, through energy bonds, through trauma, psychology. It's like a total internal excavation for you, Aries Rising. So if you need a hug or a reading, let me know. This month is going to literally restructure your relationship to desire, trust, vulnerability, sex, emotional risk. What you merge with is changing. Who you merge with is changing. And what allows you to access your inner world is also changing. So many changes for you this month. This is a month where truth inside your most private bonds becomes unavoidable. And then Mercury in your 8th. Oh my goodness. Okay, so hidden information surfaces, psychological revelations, conversations carry weight, confessions come. You're going to realize something about your own desires or fears that completely alter how you move forward. This is really deep mind territory, and nothing is superficial here. And that's not even the most important part. Mars is right in the middle of this whole activation, and you're receiving insight, but you're also being asked to act on it. You have to have courage to confront fear directly, to initiate difficult conversations, and to sever unhealthy energetic bonds, When you do this, you step into your own power without apology. Don't get me wrong, this is really uncomfortable energy, but it's amazingly freeing. Like, you don't have to survive more through avoidance. You're meant to survive through truth, motion. So when you look at your lunar nodes, you have an 11th house and a 5th house axis here, where the south node's in 5 and the north node's in 11. So the 5th house means that karmic patterns around performing for love, needing to be adored, and creating from ego are releasing. You're going to realize what you've been chasing. And because you equated excitement with the chase for worthiness, now you're going to be pulled towards community, collaboration, friendships, shared purpose. This is a big shift from personal drama to collective mission, from being the star to being the part of the signal. So you can't move into your future if you're still acting out old creative romantic scripts rooted in the need for attention. Your power is no longer meant to be spent proving yourself. Let it go. It's meant to be spent building something larger than you. So you'll have to face a fear that you carry quietly. You're going to have to confront some kind of power imbalance, releasing trauma bonds and redefining what intimacy actually means, shifting from personal passion into collective devotion. So have that hard conversation, tell the truth, even if the voice shakes, and look directly at where money or intimacy has entangled your freedom. Choose the sovereignty over the secrecy. Let your passion be guided by truth rather than what anybody else thinks. Begin orienting your energy towards the future. And this is going to be the month where you liberate from what once had power over you so that you can move into your future free and open. Aries Rising. Taurus Rising, beautiful Taurus Rising. This is us. This is me. Venus is our chart ruler, and Venus is in Ophiuchus, activating our 7th house. So is the moon. So is the sun. So is Mars. So is Mercury. Our signals coming through other people, through relationships, through our clients, through our collaborators, and through our partners, but also through reflection. So we can receive the message through the mirror. You can actually look at yourself in the mirror, Taurus Rising, and see yourself. Our entire relational field is being rewritten. How we bond, how we commit, how we attract, how we negotiate, how we choose to share our life and our energy with others. Love is a truth-telling force this month for us. It's not just about who we're with, it's about what we value, what we desire, and what we will no longer tolerate. And also what we're finally willing to claim as worthy of our time and devotion. Our hearts are really asking for alignment in the truth. And Mercury in Scorpio in the 7th house, squaring the lunar nodes, means that this is a month of deep and revealing conversations. So you can't pretend anymore not to know what we already know. Truth will be spoken. Secrets will surface. Power dynamics will be named. This is psychological honesty in all partnerships. It's going to feel intense, but also liberating. We're being asked to stop negotiating with silence. So Mars and Sagittarius in our 7th house is wanting us to take action in those relationships. He wants decisions. He wants departures. He wants declarations and boundaries and invitations. So this is where we stop circling the truth and finally move in and move on. So some relationships will expand, others will end, and some will transform. So Mars isn't waiting for consensus here. It's really just like Venus, alignment. When we look at the lunar nodes, the South Node in Leo is in our 4th house, and the North Node in Aquarius is in our 10th house. So old karmic patterns around family, ancestral roles, emotional loyalty, caretaking, being the strong one at home, and being seen within the tribe are releasing. We've carried the hearth, we've carried the lineage, we've carried the emotional weight of others for so long. And our North Node in Aquarius in our 10th house is pulling us into public authorship, leadership, visibility, innovation, and vocational expression that serves something larger than family or personal history. This is the month where we feel the tension between where we came from and where we're being called to stand. So let us understand that this month is a relationship-based destiny gate. We are choosing futures. We are choosing people. We are choosing our energy. Venus in Ophiuchus is the serpent medicine. As our chart ruler, this is the removal of poison from old relational patterns, from trauma bonds, rescue dynamics, overgiving, under-receiving, seduction as survival. This month strips that out of our field. And we'll feel this in our body, in our nervous system, in our tolerance threshold. So we are here to choose with clarity, even if it means a confrontation. This is a month of recalibrating partnerships in service to our public destiny. And we are shedding what cannot walk with us into the work that's calling us. Taurus rising. Hello, beautiful Gemini rising. Mercury is your chart ruler, the communicator, the channeler, the speaker. All of the action this month is in your 6th house. So the signals entering through your body, your health, your daily work, your routines, your nervous system, and how you organize your life from the ground up. This is a functional month, right? Your life reorganizes through what you do every single day. So with Venus here as well in the 6th house, along with Sun and Moon and Mars and Mercury, your relationship to work and service and discipline and self-care is being changed. What you give your energy to every day must mean something now. Empty productivity will immediately drain you. You will no longer be able to give your life force to tasks, jobs, or obligations that feel soulless. So Venus is also about how you treat your body. Pleasure, nourishment, movement, rest, and devotion to your physical vessel all become part of the channeling process. So if you ignore your body, the signal distorts. And if your body's honored, the signal sharpens. So with Mercury here in the 6th house, thoughts immediately will affect your nervous system. Emotions immediately affect your digestion, your sleep, your immune function, and stamina. And information arrives through symptoms, sensations, and psychological realizations all at once. So this is an investigative Mercury, so you'll feel compelled to research about your condition, analyze your habits, and confront uncomfortable truths about burnout, stress, addiction, compensation patterns, or overfunctioning. This is the intelligence that you're channeling that's returning to the body. And Mars gives urgency and drive to that physical reset. You're going to feel restless. You're going to feel ready to overhaul your routine, ready to quit something draining immediately. You guys are probably the only ones that I would say a New Year's resolution before the full moon is perfect for you. Everyone else, no. You're ready to start something new and restore your vitality, and Mars here demands movement and courage inside the daily grind. Active reclamation of your life force. So if you look at the North and South nodes, old karmic patterns around being the loud voice with the 3rd house, performer in communication, the one who dominates conversations, you're going to leave that all behind. You're going to be moving towards higher understanding, collective intelligence, new learning, new philosophies, and a bigger mental horizon. So you're becoming coherent in a different worldview, and you're trading cleverness for truth. So your life's going to change because your habits change, and your destiny's going to shift because your daily devotion shifts. Your mind will stabilize because your body will become the anchor. So confront your burnout honestly, structure your schedule so that you're not burned out, change what you eat, change how you sleep, change how you move and how you work. Recognize where stress has been silently shaping your identity. Begin living your philosophy rather than just speaking it by simplifying the routine so that the nervous system can integrate. Move your body regularly to discharge that mental overload. Track your symptoms as information rather than problems. And let go of work that drains you without feeding your purpose. And most of all, study something that expands your worldview rather than just your skills. So when you align your habits, your destiny recalibrates quietly and powerfully. Gemini rising. Hello, beautiful Cancer rising. The moon rules your chart. So anytime we talk about a lunar phase, you should be paying attention because sun and moon are now starting their cycle in your fifth house. Most of the resets this month are happening in your fifth and sixth house. The signal's going to enter through your creative fire, through your pleasure, through your romance, through your self-expression, your desire to be seen, and that innocent inner child. This is a heart-based month for you. So whatever lights you up becomes the transmission signal. Venus in your fifth house means that your relationship to joy is changing. What do you love? What do you create? What do you take risks for? What are you allowing yourself to enjoy without guilt? This is a pleasure reset. But it's not superficial, right? It's about remembering why you incarnated with a big, beautiful heart at all. So there can be a sense of creative magnetism here. A new relationship, oxytocin, romance may ignite or transform quickly. Attraction will become a mirror of your authenticity rather than what wounded you. You're meant to live in joy and to let it radiate outward. So because you're ruled by the moon, and this cycle of the moon is literally the messenger of the sky, you will feel this moon viscerally through your emotions, through your mood shifts, through the longing, through the excitement, through the nostalgia, and through a sudden hunger for life. So pay attention to what makes you feel alive. This is where the signal is the strongest for you this month. Mercury in the fifth house square to the lunar nodes is encouraging you to tell the truth through creative expression. Write something raw, say something vulnerable, admit a desire you have hidden, or recognize a fear around being seen for who you really are. This is deep heart honesty right here for this month. Mars in Sag in your fifth house is a bold creative ignition, courage in love, initiation in self-expression. You will even feel compelled to take a creative risk, declare your feelings, pursue a passion, or step into visibility through something you genuinely love rather than what you feel obliged to do. It's instinctual and it's meant to be trusted. The nodes are going to allow you to release patterns around proving your worth through productivity and survival and material security. Let all that go. You don't need it. You've carried lifetimes of that. And you're learning to be valuable by being useful. That contract's also dissolving. Your future's pulling you towards shared power, emotional honesty, true intimacy, true energetic exchange, and transformation through connection rather than ownership. So this is where your joy becomes medicine. So creative longings will resurface. A romantic spark may change your self-perception. You'll feel the urge to play after a long bout of seriousness. You're going to realize how much of your joy you've postponed for security, and you will choose to live from the heart rather than from fear. So say yes to what excites you, even if it feels dumb. Create without monetizing immediately. Let your inner child speak without editing. Risk being seen, doing something you love. Release guilt around pleasure and rest. It is the channel through which your purpose speaks. Cancer Rising. Hello, beautiful Leo Rising. The sun rules your chart. So anytime we talk about a lunar event, it always has to do with the reflection of the sun. This is all happening in your fourth house. You'll have Mars there, sun and moon there, Venus there, and Mercury. So your signal will be arriving through your roots, your home, your family, your inner world, your emotional foundation, your sense of belonging. This is a private recalibration beneath a very public identity. So your relationship to safety, to intimacy, and emotional nourishment is changing from the inside out as well. It's not all about where you live. It's about where you feel held emotionally. What feels like home? Who feels like home? And does your current life support your nervous system? So Venus here means that the heart is pulling you inward. You're going to feel less interested in performing or pleasing or projecting strength, and more interested in softness, privacy, and honest emotional connection. Love becomes quieter and deeper. Now you're ruled by the sun, and during this channeler's moon, the sun is hidden in your fourth house, creating a rare inversion of your usual pattern. Instead of radiance outward, your growth comes through introspection, vulnerability, rest, and emotional truth. You're going to feel less visible or less driven to be seen this month. This is that integration moment. Mercury will make this month of deep family truth. Conversations with parents, children, or your chosen family may surface old memories, secrets, realizations. You're going to understand something about your childhood, your lineage, or your emotional patterns that suddenly make your entire adult life make sense. This is ancestral level insight. And then Mars in your fourth house is also being activated by this moon. And so you're going to feel restless in your home, driven to move, driven to clear space, driven to confront something that's been buried. And it can look literally like that: a renovation, a move, a confrontation, boundaries with families, sudden desire for independence. So you'll look at your lunar nodes and you'll have South node right there on your ascendant and the North node right on your descendant. So patterns about being the strong one, the visible one, the leader, the performer, the one who carries the identity of the room. It's all got to go. You've known that. You've known how to stand in the light for lifetimes. Now you need to be pulled towards true partnership, collaboration, sharing authorship, relationships based on equity rather than performance. So you don't have to carry the spotlight alone anymore. You're meant to share the field with others as an equal rather than the center. You become aware of how much strength has actually cost you, and you realize that vulnerability is now the source of your authority. So make your home a sanctuary rather than a base of operations. Have the quiet emotional conversation that you've been avoiding. Let someone support you without controlling how they do it. Just, redefine what safety means for you now, because this is the month where your light moves inward to integrate. And when it rises again later in the year, it will be steadier, quieter, and far more sovereign. Notice your slide is 33, Leo rising. Hello, beautiful Virgo rising. In my cosmology, Venus rules your chart, but you can use Mercury too. They're next to each other pretty much this month. So all the actions happening in your third house. So the signal that you're channeling is through your mind, voice, speech, writing, learning, conversations, social media, siblings, environment, the nervous system, processing, anything third house. So this is the message month in the most literal sense. Your reality is going to shift through what you hear, what you say, and what you learn, and also what you choose to communicate. With all this energy in your third, your mental field is lit up with speed and urgency and truth-seeking. Thoughts move quickly, conversations accelerate, decisions feel immediate. You're going to feel an intense need to speak honestly, to learn something new quickly, to travel, to teach, or to share a message that's been building inside of you. With Venus ruling your chart and sitting in your third, what you say this month changes your relationships, your finances, and your self-worth all at the same time. A conversation could alter a partnership. A message could unlock a new opportunity. A boundary spoken could restore energy you did not realize you had been leaking. With Mars in the third, words are not passive. They're like knives. They're going to initiate difficult conversation. You're going to confront misinformation everywhere. You might feel less willing to stay quiet when something feels misaligned, and there's courage in your speech now. So you're moving away from hiding your light, suppressing your voice, spiritualizing silence, being unsafe. You've known lifetimes of being quiet in order to survive. And now the future is calling you towards applied intelligence, daily devotion, ethical work, service with sovereignty, and functional nervous system health. You're going to use your insight in tangible ways that serve both you and the collective. So speak a truth that repositions your life. Learn information that changes your path. Realize how much you've been holding back mentally. Stop romanticizing invisibility and practice your wisdom instead of just contemplating it. When you say the thing you've been editing out of your speech, when you write what you've been afraid to publish, you turn inspiration into daily practice rather than private fantasy. So this is the month where you release it into the world and let that shape you in return. Virgo Rising. And last but not least, sexy, symmetrical Libra Rising. This new moon is activating your second house. Mercury is your chart ruler in my cosmology, but you can take Venus if you want. They're both in your second house this month. So the signal, the channel that's coming through for you is about money, resources, self-worth, survival patterns, voice, and what you value enough to protect. This is lived recalibration of how you sustain your life. Venus here means that your relationship to worth and desire is being wholly transformed. What are you willing to be paid for? What will you no longer tolerate? What are you finally ready to claim as valuable? All of that is shifting. Venus makes this deeply relational as well. What you value in others and what you demand in exchange are updating together. Mars in that second house is courage around money and self-worth. You will feel driven to take financial risks, to raise your prices, to leave a draining income source and invest in something meaningful, or finally confront fear-based decisions that kept you playing small. Mars doesn't like stagnation here. So forward motion and how you support yourself is how Mars wants to take action. Your chart's ruled by Mercury, and Mercury's square the lunar nodes, so the message is moving through your identity and your voice immediately. Your body is becoming the antenna. You can literally sit in meditation and let yourself just speak, and you're transmitting what you are meant to channel. What you realize internally will show up externally in how you move, speak, choose, and assert yourself. This is investigative Mercury. You're going to see beneath the surfaces here. You will feel when something's off before the proof arrives. You might even confront truths about who you are that force you to change your self-presentation, your boundaries, or even your direction. This is an identity level recalibration, not just financial. And when you look at the South Node, you're releasing karmic patterns around identity, performance, approval, reputation, being seen as successful. You've known that for lifetimes, how to stand in the spotlight for so many lifetimes. And now you're being asked to be pulled towards emotional authenticity, inner safety, sovereignty in private life, and building a home that reflects who you actually are, rather than who you appear to be. It's all about becoming stable on the inside. This month, you're going to realize how much of your worth has been tied to status. You'll feel the need to simplify your life around what truly sustains you. You'll speak a truth that changes how others see you. And this will allow you to speak from your body, not from your resume. Build private stability before chasing that public recognition. This is the month where you reclaim your worth at the root and let the world adjust around that truth. Libra Rising. That concludes our readings, beautiful souls. Yes, I did lose my coat during that reading. I always get hot when I'm reading astrology. So please like and subscribe if you've made it to this far. I appreciate you. I will see you all on the next video. Namaste. Thank you so much.